Hello students and welcome to Smartkidz Tutorials. In this video we will be solving the science model paper for class 10 second term examination Goa board, which will be held in April 2022. This paper is out of 30 marks. So the first question is select the correct alternative from those given below each statement and write the completed statement. And the first sub-question under the question 1a is the mineral necessary for the secretion of thyroxine is dash. Choices given in front of us are calcium, iron, iodine, phosphorus. So the answer here would be first one, that is iodine. Iodine is necessary for the secretion of thyroxine. Otherwise, a human being can suffer from goiter, that is enlargement of the neck. In the second sub-question, we have the plant on which Mendel performed his experiment is dash. We know he performed experiments using the pea plant. So the second answer would be P. Question 1b, answer the following. The first sub-question under that is name the following. An animal which can change its sex. That would be snail. In this 1b, we have the hormone secreted in males at the time of puberty is testosterone. In females, it is estrogen. Second is draw the electronic dot structure of ethane. So the electron dot structure of ethane is here, and ethane, we know the molecular formula is C2H6. So we have 2 carbon atoms and we have 6 hydrogen atoms surrounding them. Okay. So you have 3 hydrogen atoms pairing with 3 electrons of carbon and 3 hydrogen atoms pairing with 3 electrons of this carbon atom. And one of the electrons from this carbon atom is shared with electron from this carbon atom. So totally we know that carbon atom has got 4 electrons which are readily available to be shared with others. 3 of them are shared with this hydrogen atoms over here, and 3 of this carbon atom are shared over here. 1 is shared over here, that forms a single bond. These are all single bonds that are formed. So if you draw the structural formula of ethane, you will know that they are all single bonds all over here. 1c, answers the following. First one, Mr. Gupta is advised by his doctor to take less sugar in his diet. 1a says, why did his doctor advise the same? Well, if he has been advised to take less sugar, that means he is unable to metabolize the sugar he is consuming, maybe directly in the form of just having sugar related items or food items, or in the form of carbohydrates which are converted to sugar. In this case, that is why he has been said. So he probably is suffering from diabetes mellitus. So the cause of this disease is yes, and cause of this, because he's suffering, the first answer would be he's suffering from diabetes mellitus. That is the obvious reason why Mr. Gupta has been advised by his doctor to not to take or to reduce the sugar in his diet. What is the cause of the, why is diabetes caused? Diabetes caused because the hormone insulin is not functioning properly, or either not secreted or secreted in insufficient amounts. So deficiency of blood sugar hormone, that is insulin, leads to diabetes or uncontrolled blood sugar. Question 2 question 2 under C is what factors could lead to the rise of new species? So the main factors that which lead to the rise of new species are natural selection, genetic drift, geographical isolation, and mutation. 2 functions of medulla oblongata, there are many actually. Main function is actually respiration and circulation. So that helps in regulating breathing, heart and blood vessel function, digestion, sneezing and swallowing. These are involuntary functions which are not really under our control. They happen automatically. State 2 methods of dating fossils. So this comes under question 1D. Two methods mentioned in the class 10 textbook are absolute dating and relative dating. So if you go under evolution subheading in the chapter heredity and evolution, you will get the definitions of absolute dating. What do you mean by absolute dating and what do you mean by relative dating? Why is brain placed in a fluid filled balloon? To provide shock absorber. The brain is an important part. If the brain gets damaged, our day-to-day function can be impaired. We can even die. So this needs to be protected. And what it does, where the brain is held in a fluid filled balloon. Okay, and this fluid filled part absorbs the shock. So if there is any knock to the head, it absorbs. There are two protection. One is this fluid filled part, and the other one that it is in a bony structure. Two things which prevent direct damage to the brain. 1D3, that is draw a neat diagram of the human brain and label cerebrum and cerebellum. So here are all the labels that we will be able to see of a brain for class 10. And what we are asked to label is cerebrum, which is over here, and cerebellum, which is over here. Okay, you may even be asked to give one function of each of them, so you need to know. Main things to remember in brain are cerebrum, then you have your cerebellum or your medulla, okay, hypothalamus, pituitary gland. Possible that they may come for the exam. Question 2A. Observe the correlation in the first pair and complete the second pair. Eka boron and the new name is scandium, eka aluminium, and the new name is what we are asked, that is gallium. So these were names given to the elements which were not discovered at that time but thought to exist. When they found them, they gave them some names. So eka boron, formerly known, is now known as scandium, and gallium was formerly known as eka aluminium. In the second question under 2A, the pair is magnesium having atomic number 12. So sulfur has an atomic number of 16. Question 2B, answer the following. An element X has atomic number 19. Okay, so to which, first sub question is under to which group and period does it belong? Write the formula of its oxide. And the second question is also related to the first one. It says write the formula of its chloride, that means of this particular element X, chloride of this particular. So we'll see. First one, to which group and period does it belong? So when it says atomic number 19, now you don't have to remember which is the atomic number 19 as in the element name. You're just given that particular element. You're given that element and you're given the atomic number. So work along those lines rather than worrying about what is the name of that element in the modern periodic table. You're given atomic number is 19. So first thing you do is write its electronic configuration. So the electronic configuration is 2, 8, 8, 1. For those who do not know how to get this electronic configuration, you will be able to find the video in the description box giving you detailed explanation how to get the electronic configuration. Just briefly, if you add up all this 2, 8, 8 plus 1, that means 2 plus 8 plus 8 plus 1, you get 19. Filling up of the shells, these are shells. This is shell number 1, that is K, L, M and N. And though the third shell can occupy 18, only 8 has been filled, and then it's gone on to fill the fourth shell. 1 electron is gone in the fourth shell. That's because as per the Bohr-Bury scheme which we learned in class 9, outermost shells should occupy a maximum of 8 electrons. That is why 1 electron is gone into the fourth shell. So because there are 4 shells, we can say that the period it belongs to is 4. Okay, if you look at the modern periodic table, you have horizontal periods and vertical groups. So in the horizontal periods, each period means 1 shell. As you move down, the second period means there are 2 shells, third period means there are 3 shells, fourth period means there are 4 shells. Okay, so because there are 4 shells over here, we can say that it belongs to the fourth period. You may check in your textbook, open up the page where it shows the modern periodic table, and you will be able to locate element number 19, or element having atomic number 19. Valency is 1 because it has got one electron in the valence shell or the outermost shell, and likelihood is it would be readily be able to give up that one electron in order to gain a stable noble gas configuration. And since it is having a valency of 1, therefore we can say that it belongs to group number 1. So there will be a separate video on this explaining, for those of you who do not know how to get periods and groups. A separate video will be made. I'll put the link over here in the description box below. That will make it easier for you to find out if an atomic number is given. How do we find out which period or group does that element belong to? So we solved the first one, to which group and period does it belong. Next one is write the formula of its oxide. Okay, this is an interesting one. Now element X has atomic number 19. Okay, so it is able to has a valency of 1, which means it can give this one electron in its outermost shell. And if it is able to give one electron, that means it will have a valency of 1 and positive 1. Now it is asked to formula of its oxide, so which means it is going to pair up with oxygen. Now oxygen has 2 electrons in its outermost shell, as you see by this configuration. Its atomic number is 16, so 2, 8, 6. In this it needs 2 electrons to gain the stable noble gas configuration, which means the valency is got to be -2. So if we pair up the -2 and +1, in case we have done the pairing work in class 9 to get the compound, if that is done, then we get this molecular formula, that is X2O. Okay, the element X combining with oxygen, so that's the oxide of this particular element X. Coming to the question 2, write the formula of its chloride. So again, same logic applied over there. X, which has a valency of 1, has a positive 1, and chlorine has an electronic configuration of 17. Oxygen is 16, chlorine is 17. Okay, which means it needs 1 electron. Oxygen needed 2, chlorine needs just 1, and hence has a valency of -1. Because it is 1 and both are 1, so the chloride formula of its chloride will be XCl. There you go, XCl. So element X with its chlorine atom. Question 2C, attempt the following, and in this we have a choice between the first. You can either look to answer the one on top or one below over here, whichever you feel you are in a position to answer. You can even answer both of them. In this video we have answered both, so to show you what are the answers. So we'll approach the first one. It says carbon is tetravalent, so give a reason. Now we know that carbon has an electronic configuration of 2,6, which means it has a valency of 4. It can either give 4 electrons or either gain 4 electrons, but neither of that happens in case of carbon. Rather, it goes on to share its 4 electrons, forming a covalent bond. Because there are 4, it has a valency of 4, it can share 4 electrons. It is known as a tetravalent atom. And second one, the metallic character decreases from left to right along a period. In this case, the metallic character depends on the nuclear charge. That means each atom has got a nucleus, and this nucleus has an attractive force which keeps the electrons in the orbits tightly held and in particular orbits. Along a period, the number of shells do not increase, which means the electrons, even if they are added, they are going to be added to the same shell, and the nucleus will keep a tight hold, or the attractive force of the nucleus will be tight enough to prevent metallic character of a particular element from exhibiting itself. So when the effective nuclear charge is less, metallic character is more. So across the group, the nucleus becomes stronger. The attractive force of the nucleus becomes stronger. As a result of which, what happens is the metallic character across a period decreases. But if you go down a group, then there are shells added, and as there are shells added, the electrons in the outermost shell experience less attractive force of the nucleus. As a result of which, what happens, the metallic character is known to increase down the group. But our question was asking, why is it that the metallic character decreases from left to right along a period? That is because of the increase in the effective nuclear charge acting on the valence shell electrons. State 2 characteristics of covalent compound. So there are 4 characteristics I've put down over here. Whichever you feel you are able to understand and remember, you may study those. So covalent compounds exist as gases or liquids or soft solids. Melting and boiling points of covalent compounds are generally low. And the covalent compounds are insoluble in water but dissolve in organic solvents. Organic solvents would be like your benzene. Okay. They are non-conductors of electricity in solid, molten or aqueous state. Good conductors of electricity are usually those forming ionic bonds like sodium and sodium chloride, okay, where there is giving and accepting of electrons. In covalent compounds, there is no giving and accepting, there is only sharing. So in such, there are no free electrons, okay, as a result of which they form poor conductors of electricity. So you may choose between any two of them to remember and write for the exam if it comes. To the second part, what are alkanes? Okay, alkanes are saturated hydrocarbons, single bonded carbon atoms. Okay, alkanes are a series of compounds that contain carbon and hydrogen atoms with single um, covalent bonds. Okay, so like your methane, then your propane, butane, so forth. These are all alkanes having single bonds, and because they're single bonds, they are also known as saturated hydrocarbons. We have unsaturated hydrocarbons having double or triple bonds like alkenes and alkynes. Second question, what write the modern periodic law? So the physical chemical properties of the elements are the periodic functions of their atomic numbers. So this is known as the modern periodic law. Physical and chemical properties of the elements that are listed in the modern periodic table are said to be the periodic functions of their atomic numbers. Third, write what are structural isomers. Compounds having same molecular formula but different molecular structures, rather than, or you can say structural formulas, are known to as structural isomers. So something like propane. Okay, propane can be written as a straight chain hydrocarbon, or it can be also shown as branched hydrocarbon. Okay, wherein one carbon will be attached to another carbon as a branch. Okay, but the number of carbon atoms and the number of hydrogen atoms present in that will remain the same. So when we go to write the molecular formula, it will be the same. For example, if we take pentane, okay, it will be C5H12. So even if we show the pentane structural formula with branches, it will continue to remain C5H12. We are not asked for the examples. I have not shown the examples over here. Question 2D, do as directed. State one point of difference between benzene and cyclohexane. Now, benzene formula is C6H6 and cyclohexane formula is C6H12. If you go to draw the structural formula of benzene, then benzene will be like a ring-like structure having three double bonds in between, alternating with each other, alternating between. So there will be a single bond between two double bonds. That is what is benzene, and that's why there are only 6 hydrogen atoms. In cyclohexane, there are no double bonds, they are all single bonds, as a result of which you have 12 hydrogen atoms. So there are 6 carbon atoms in case of both of them, benzene and cyclohexane. However, in benzene there are only 6 hydrogen atoms because there are 3 triple bonds, and in case of cyclohexane there are 12 hydrogen atoms because they are all bonded with single bonds. Next question, question 2 of under question 2D. What are oxidizing agents? Oxidizing agent is something that gains electrons and is reduced in a chemical reaction. Next question. The food chain generally consists of 3 or 5 steps. Why? As we know, as energy moves from one trophic level to another trophic, there is a 10% reduction in energy. So as the energy gets transferred from one level to another, hardly energy remains when it is past the third step. Okay, as a result of which it's not possible to have more than 5 steps. Usually 3 steps is what is final, 3 or 4 steps. Beyond that, the energy level is not enough for consumption. There's not any energy left, you can say. Okay, as per that. So we say only 10% of the energy stored in one trophic level, okay, the ones produced by the producers, is actually transferred to the next trophic level, that is herbivore, and so forth. So we are like, in case of humans, we are right at the top in case of the trophic levels. Eventually there is so little energy remaining at the top trophic level, that is third to fifth level, that no higher trophic levels can be supported. Hence most food chains have 3 to 5. This usually it is 3. 4 or 5 will depend on who is the energy consumer higher. So there are those which need higher consumption, consumers. So when they are present in that particular food chain, then you don't have any more energy left to be transferred. Question 4, you have what is the role of decomposers in the ecosystem? Decomposers are those that decompose material, okay, dead decaying material. So roles played by the decomposers in the ecosystem are: they decompose biodegradable substances into useful substances. Basically they break down complex material into simpler substances which can then be absorbed into the soil and then can be absorbed by plants and so forth. They release nutrients into the soil by decomposing dead and decaying matter, thus making the soil fertile. They maintain the nutrient pool by returning back the nutrients in the pool. So that's all that they do. But they have a very, very important role in recycling the nutrients, in giving back or returning the nutrients back to its origin, that is the soil. From the soil it goes to the plants and then moves on to the higher trophic levels. Before we begin with question number 3, I would like to remind you, if you haven't subscribed to the channel, please subscribe to the channel. If you like watching this video, I am asking you to do 2 things. First, hit the like button. Secondly, share it with your classmates and friends who would also be able to benefit as you have benefited. Let's continue and finish off. This is the third and last set of questions in your science paper. This science paper has got 3 main questions, and each main question has got 10 marks allotted to it. So you have question number 1 which has 10 marks, question number 2 10 marks, and question number 3 10 marks. A total of 30 marks for this question paper, and they are subdivided into 1 mark, then 2 marks, then 3 marks, and 4 marks. So it will always begin first with something like what you see on your screen: state whether the following statements are true or false, which will be like for 1 mark. Then it will go to the next question, which will be 3B, which will be for 2 marks. and 3C will be for 3 marks, and 3D will be for 4 marks. Now, in between, it is up to the examiner where to give a choice between the questions. You can find it in question number 1, 2, or even 3. But overall, you have 30 marks that you need to answer. And we have already completed question 1 and question 2. So let's begin with question 3 and finish this paper. So question 3a says, state whether the following statements are true or false. And the first question that we see here is it asks us the flow of energy is directional. Now this is a quite ambiguous question because the flow of direction, as we know, is unidirectional. But if you have a choice between choosing between unidirectional, multidirectional, bidirectional, then unidirectional would be the correct. So since it just says the flow of energy is directional, I would go with true because it is directional, but only thing is it is unidirectional in one direction. It moves from the low trophic levels to the higher trophic level. That means from the producers to omnivores or higher consumers. Second one, so the to put it finally, 3A1, I would say it is true. It is the flow of energy is directional. Question 3A2, human beings occupy the top level of food chain. That's true. Human beings are at the top, so they feed on other carnivores, they also feed on herbivores, and we also feed on producers as well. So we are at the topmost level of this food chain. Question 3b, attempt the following, and this is for 2 marks. First question is under question 3b is why does a compass needle get deflected when brought near a bar magnet? We have learned that the compass needle itself is like a magnet. So when you bring a bar magnet next to another magnet, it is bound to react. Okay. So when a bar magnet is brought near a compass needle, the bar magnet exerts its magnetic force on the compass needle. Hence it gets deflected. Question 3b2, distinguish between an ammeter and a voltmeter. Now there are many points, however this is going to be for just 1 mark, so we can give just 1 point, and we can just give why ammeter is used. Ammeter is a device that is used to measure the current, whereas in an electric circuit, whereas a voltmeter is a device that is used to measure the voltage or the potential difference across 2 points in an electric circuit. Apart from that, yes, you can give a lot of other examples like ammeter. The unit that is used in an ammeter is amps or ampere, and in case of voltmeter, the unit that is used is volts. Okay. It's up to you which one, but you're supposed to give 1 point of difference between ammeter and voltmeter. Question 3c is attempt the following, and we have got 1, 2, 3 main question, and under 3 we've got 2 sub questions. So question 1 under 3c, write Fleming's right hand thumb rule. The right hand thumb rule, if you see in the textbook, it clearly tells you, okay, there is a thumb that is involved, then there is a forefinger that is involved, and your middle finger that is involved, and they are mutually perpendicular to each other. All you need to know is what does the thumb represent, what does the forefinger represent, and what does the middle finger represent. So the thumb represents the direction of the motion of conductor, or you say force as well. And in case of the forefinger, it points in the direction of the magnetic field. So a magnetic field that is generated, it shows in which direction that magnetic field is moving. And the middle finger points towards the direction of the induced current. So this is about the Fleming's right hand rule. So it's about arranging our right hand, the first 3 fingers, that is the thumb, forefinger and middle finger, perpendicular to each other. Question 3c2, state 2 causes of short circuiting. 2 causes are listed in the textbook. One is faulty insulation and the other one is loose connection. Faulty insulation, when the insulation cover is not good enough, it could be old or either damaged, and this allows the neutral and the live wires to come in contact with each other, which results in a short circuit. Apart from this, you can have loose connections, and attachments can loosen. Sometimes there is always wear and tear. Sometimes neutral and live wire. So overall, when does a short circuit happen? When a neutral and live wire come in contact with each other. That's when you have a short circuit. Coming to question 3, which we are asked, name the following. So first thing is name the following, the standard international unit of electric charge, and that is coulomb. And for the B, the question is the instrument used to measure potential difference, that is voltmeter, or you may even get the instrument used to measure the voltage across a circuit in an electric circuit, that is again a voltmeter. Coming to question 3D. Question 3D, answer the following. First question, write the factors on which resistance of a conductor depends on. So resistance of a conductor depends on the cross-sectional area of the conductor, the length of the conductor, and its resistivity. There's also a formula with respect to this, wherein it clearly refers to the resistance of a conductor being dependent on these factors, that is the cross-sectional area of the conductor, the length of the conductor, and its resistivity. Question 2, under question 3D, draw the circuit diagram connecting 3 resistors 12 ohm, 15 ohm, 20 ohm in series. Connect them with a battery, plug key, and an ammeter. Insert a voltmeter across the resistors. Show the direction of flow of current. So this is the diagram, and it fulfills whatever has been asked in the diagram. So this, as far as distribution of marks is concerned, this is for 4 marks, the question 3D. First question has 1 mark. The diagram with all the labeling parts has got 2 marks. This 1 mark for question 3 under 3D. So we need to draw a neat diagram like this. Then certain parts have to be mentioned, like for example the 3 resistors, and mention that they are 12 ohm, 15 ohm, 20 ohms. There has to be a voltmeter across it, okay, like this. Then there has to be a plug key, a battery, an ammeter to measure the flow of current, and most importantly, the direction of flow of current has to be mentioned, which is mentioned clearly over here. Show the direction of flow of current. So current always flows from positive to negative because electrons flow from negative to positive. So current always, remember, flows from the positive terminal to the negative terminal. Over here, when it comes over here, it flows down this way, moves this way, and then back again in this circuit. Okay, so voltage always comes across this way to measure the potential difference across the circuit, and this way for a circuit in series. Question 3 says find the total resistance of the above circuit. So we have been given 3 resistances, 12 ohm, 15 ohm, 20 ohms, and we just need to add them to get the total resistance in this particular circuit. So here it is the calculations: R1, R2, R3. Resistance in series, that is Rs, is equal to R1 plus R2 plus R3. We add them up, we get the total as 47 ohms as the total resistance of this particular circuit. So this question consisted of 2 parts, or choices I mean. Either you can answer these 3 questions, or you can answer the next set of questions, which are these. Alternatively, you can answer both if you like to, and if you have the time. So here we have answered both. First set we have already answered. The second set is first question, define electric power. So electric power is the rate at which work is done or energy is transformed into an electric circuit. Just to put it very plainly, it is the amount of work done in a particular span of time. That is what it means by electric power. Second question, draw a circuit diagram as described. Connect 3 resistors 5 ohm, 12 ohms, 15 ohm in parallel. Connect them with a battery, plug key, and an ammeter. insert a voltmeter across the resistors and show the direction of flow of current. So almost the same as the previous one, only thing is this is in parallel. The previous one that we did was in series, and here the resistors, the resistance of the three resistors have been changed. So here it is 5 ohms, 10 ohms and 15 ohms. Here is the diagram. See, there is a battery, plug key, ammeter. It's showing the flow of current from positive terminal to negative terminal. There is a voltmeter that is across the, and see how the arrangement is of the three resistors, one on top of the other, so they are parallel to each other. And there is voltmeter that is measuring the potential difference across it. And you clearly see this is the positive terminal, negative terminal goes, and the flow of current comes down over here. So this is positive, this is negative. Here also comes the positive terminal, so positive terminal will be here, this side of the ammeter, and negative terminal will be this side of the ammeter. So this is how you need to draw. It should be neat and it should be clearly marked. Where is the battery, the plug key? Just make sure the ammeter is marked with a capital A and voltmeter with a capital V. And the flow of current, you can mark it with I, that is the symbol for current. And if the resistances are not given, then you can just put it as R1, R2 and R3. If they are mentioned, then you need to mention them as 5 ohm, 10 ohms, 15 ohms as mentioned over here. The third question and the final one says find the total resistance of the above circuit. So we did the same for finding the total resistance when it was in series. Now this is in parallel, so slightly different formula. And solve over here. It says 1 upon Rp, so Rp stands for resistance in parallel, equal to 1 upon R1 plus 1 upon R2 plus 1 upon R3. So reciprocals of these resistances. And we get 1 upon 5 plus 1 upon 10 plus 1 upon 15 from here. Make sure that their denominators are the same. So if we take the LCM, it comes to 30. So if we need to get 30 in each, we need to balance also the numerators. That is the mathematical part. You should know that. So we get 6 upon 30, 3 upon 30, 2 upon 30. If we add them up, we get 11 upon 30. So we take the reciprocal of 1 upon Rp to get the resistance in parallel. And so the denominator over here becomes the numerator, and the numerator comes down to become the denominator. And we get Rp equal to 30 upon 11, which is 2.72 ohms. So that is the total resistance of this particular circuit. So with this, we complete the paper on science for second term, the model paper, and hope you have found this beneficial. There are many more papers that you can find from various preparatory books. You can solve them. If you have any difficulties, please feel free to just message me on this particular channel itself. And if you need some help in some particular topic in science or in maths, please let me know. Once again, if you've liked watching this video, hit the like button, share it with your friends and classmates, and subscribe to the channel if you haven't done so. Thank you very much for watching, and I wish you all the best for your upcoming exams.